welcome in. It's Sunday night, and you know what that means. It must be time for the Icon Cup Series here on VirtualRacing.Network. That's right, it's season number 1, race number 3, and it's been 2 very, very different races to start the season. Tonight, we welcome you to POCONO Raceway, a triangle-shaped track called the Tricky Triangle for a reason. And tonight, we hope it's not too tricky for these drivers, and we hope to see a lot of awesome green flag racing out there. It's a full field of NASCAR Next Gen Cup cars coming at you live here momentarily on VirtualRacing.Network. I'm Trevor Greenfield. Welcome once again. And always, I'm joined here in the booth, except for tomorrow night, joined here in the booth by Christian Snyder, a sim racing veteran, multiple race winner in the NORA series, and full-time team owner here in the Icon Cup Series. Christian, welcome in. What do we have to expect here at Pocono Raceway?
Well, based on what I was seeing in practice, it looks pretty loose here tonight coming out of turn 1, which is very typical for this track. You know, this is the Tricky Triangle after all. So these drivers are going to have a tough time here tonight, but that's kind of expected when you come to this track. This is a hometown track for me, so I absolutely enjoy this track, and that's why I'm racing tomorrow, running my hometown track. But, you know, these guys in Icon, it's been kind of an up and down so far. You know, it was up with Atlanta, great race, and then we had the New Hampshire race, which was a lot of cautions, but it was still a good finish. So we'll see how Pocono goes with these guys. I'm sure it's going to be a good race down to the end.
Well, of course, we look forward to, cautions are part of racing for certain, and we learned that the hard way last week with New Hampshire, but the real life series, of course, had a lot of attrition as well. This week, it's a whole different kind of style of racing out here, and as these cars set to go out there and get their qualifying underway, let's go ahead and jump on board with them as soon as we possibly can. We wait for one of them to jump out there on the track, but let's also take a look there. As you can see on your screen, the current temperature is 107 degrees on track at the moment. 11 mile per hour breeze happening out there on the track, and that may change over the course of this race, so we'll keep an eye on the weather for you. Still watching on as we now get some cars starting to drift out there on track. And here is Cody Height on screen for Harper Motorsports. He's just getting underway with his warm-up lap. And Christian will jump on board with Cody here as he brings that car around, and you can take us through a lap here at Pocono Raceway.
Yeah, 3 very different corners. This is the long sweeping corner, kind of flat, that's based off of, I believe, I want to say Milwaukee Mile, if I'm not mistaken.
Ding, ding, ding.
I think I got it right. The second one is Indy, the second one is Indy, but the first corner, I'm not 100% sure. I think the track was demolished, but you can see you want to heavy brake getting into this corner and then drop down low and come off high. That's what you're going to see all night, but there could be 3 wide going into turn 1 tonight. That's the best opportunity for passing. Then when you come down this Long Pond straightaway, you get to turn 2 here, which is based off of Indianapolis. It's kind of a fast corner, not much passing opportunity. As we see Cody Height gets into the wall off of 2, that's going to disallow his lap, which is unfortunate for him. But then you get into turn 3, and you want to stay as close to the bump on the inside, that curbing, but not get on it, because if you get on it, it is like ice, and you'll go around very quick. But the lap times are anywhere between, around 52 seconds to 54 seconds around here at this track. 52 is, what they used to run, but now with these low horsepowers, they run about 54-second lap times here.
So that's an excellent lap around, and of course we welcome on everybody over in our YouTube chat room. Great to have you with us as always, rooting on your favorite drivers. Let us know who you're rooting on out there. We do generally see the Ronnie Norman fan club as well as numerous other fan clubs throughout the field, so let us know who you're rooting on But for those out there in YouTube land, I do know the answer to this question, as we see Tim Harper setting the fastest lap initially, but then getting it quite crossways there on his second lap. Easier said than done. Here's Jovi Ray. He took the win here in the first race of the season at Old Atlanta. And last race, of course, it was Ryan Patty who took that win at New Hampshire. Tonight, can Jovi Ray step back into the winner's circle? That's a good question. Racing for Aaron's tonight. Also, we've got this driver who's just taken over the fastest lap of the race so far, or the fastest lap of qualifying, excuse me, Brian Smith for 313 Motorsports. But the question out there to you in YouTube land is, do you know which track, it's a former track, I'll give you that. It was demolished. Probably houses put there. It's painful to think of. But which track was turn 1 here at Pocono Raceway named for? And we'll announce the winner. Whoever can get that answered first, I will talk about that here on the air, and it'll be a nice little congratulations for you. But right now... Yep.
I think I got it. I DM'd you, but we're going to keep it quiet. I think I got it. Let me know if I'm right.
Let's see. Nope. You got it wrong.
Oh, man. All right. I don't know. For the life of me, I can't think of one. Man.
Well, it's a demolished track. Yes, the one that you posted. In fact, just to tell you, the one, well, I don't want to do that to you. I'm not going to.
Yeah, you don't want to give it away.
I'm not going to give it away, but
yeah.
Indeed, not the famous Pennsylvania track that you're talking about, which we saw IndyCar race at, or kart race at a few times back in the 90s. That track, of course, sadly demolished as well. But yeah, we'll keep an eye out over in YouTube chat. Once again, if you know which track, which no longer exists now, the first corner here was configured, designed around here at Pocono Raceway, we'll give you a shout out on the air. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and, well, first let's talk about the points as they stand coming into this one, and then we'll get to the qualifying order for tonight's race here at the Tricky Triangle. Try to get to that. Too many buttons to push. There we go. So the 2023 season standings there on the screen, and you can see that in fact it is Ryan Patty who leads that arsenal right there at the top, but that's because Jovi Ray is not a full-time entrant here in the Icon Cup Series. Otherwise he would be not only in the points but also would have a guaranteed entry into the playoffs. So there you can see Jamie Lee Dunning is in second place, Kevin Gunther in third, Vincent Loria in fourth, Isaac Emerson in fifth, Ronnie Norman sixth, Blade Timmons seventh, Michael Jennings, who was our proud sponsor last race, in eighth, Evan Patenko in ninth, and Andrew Cootie in 10th. And right there on that cutoff, just inside, is Timothy Harper. And so he's got to get that machine cooking and hopefully get some more points if he wants to stay in these playoffs, just outside Jacob Smith and Kyle Gilbert. So we'll watch on and see how these drivers can do. And let's go ahead and go over tonight's starting grid for Pocono Raceway, round number 3 right here in Pocono. So it is Brian Smith who takes pole position. Second place going to Jovi Ray. Keep an eye on that 00 machine. He could certainly put that thing in victory lane once again. If he could do it at Fast Atlanta, he could certainly do it here. Vincent Loria starting on the second row next to Brandon Cawley. On the third row, Scott Patton and Kyle Gilbert. Fourth row going to Justin Michael and Ronnie Norman. The fifth row will be Ryan Patty, already race winner, and the main guy, the guy that runs the show here in the Icon Cup Series. He'll be starting 9th. Next to him, Blade Timmons for Harper Motorsports. 11th will be Brendan Jenks and Nathan Brzezowski. And let's see if we can get to the next round. Christian, if you don't mind reading the rest.
From, what, 13th on back here?
13th on back.
That'd be Nick Alford in 13th, Cody Neal 14th. Behind them, Timothy Harper and Andrew Cootie, 15th and 16th in row 8. Row 9, we got Mark Morton and Jacob Smith. Row 10, Michael Jennings and Sean Purcell. Tanner Dio and Cody Height behind them, with Adam Ball and Hanover Fist behind him. Isaac Emerson and Brad Stagel. Then we got Brock Hersey and Nick Geilis making his debut here in Icon. William Baker behind him, with Nathan Finnegan starting beside him in 30th. Then we got Christopher Howe, Cody Eldred, Justin Bissonette, Kevin Gunther, Jamie Lee Dunning, really far back for Jamie Lee Dunning. Something happened there. We've seen him up toward the front, so surprising for that starting position. And then rounding out the field, Evan Patinko and Steven Tuck, 36th and 37th, as we come in to the green flag here.
And we are, in fact, green here at Pocono. It's Brian Smith who leads Vincent Lauria down into that first corner. We watch on to see if anyone has the answer. We're already 3 wide as that looks 4 wide back there. Racing on for 4th and 5th position. They are fanned out across this field.
Yeah, this track, that happens down in turn 1. You see them sometimes as much as 5 wide down in turn 1, but they only went 3 or 4 wide this time. So these guys not pushing it too hard, but we're seeing a lot of 2 wide, 3 wide action as we see the 227 of Gilbert on the outside of the 46 of Patton with Justin Michael right behind him here.
Keep an eye on that battle up front, but so far no changes between Brian Smith and Jovi Ray. They settle in. Vincent Lauria in 3rd. In fact, the top 4 positions not having changed, but possibly a change for position coming up very shortly as Cawley looks to be heading down. Actually, that's Patton trying to go down the inside of Gilbert back there in the 227, and they exchange the position. Just up in front, I believe it is Cawley he ducks back in. He was taking a look on Lauria for just a moment. Now these two have settled this position for 5th place between Gilbert and Patton. Starting to already settle into single file here as we're just on lap number 2. But taking a look in the tunnel turn.
That's Blade Timmons almost getting sideways there.
My goodness me. Blade Timmons just a little bit further back, and now he's the meat in the sandwich here, a little bit starting to drift backwards.
I think that was Brendan Jenks getting into his quarter panel and getting him turned a little sideways, but great save there for Blade Timmons.
Well, they race side by side in front. Here. This is the 18 of Ronnie Norman and the 87 of Justin Michael racing for position. That is for 7th place on the track. Ryan Patty for the detached House of Speed in the middle of that one as well. Up in front, now racing once again for position. This is the 227 of Kyle Gilbert and Scott Patton exchanging positions headed into turn 3.
I tell you what, Ronnie Norman and Ryan Patty can't get away from each other. It seems like every week these two are side by side or bumper to bumper, whether it's in Aura or Icon. Those two just cannot get away from each other. But you see Scott Patton working the inside here of Gilbert going into turn 1. Usually the outside is able to defend because you can drive a little deeper into the corner if you run the outside. So Gilbert should easily be able to defend this position from Scott Patton.
You see him racing down the backstretch towards turn number 2, and they go side by side. So looks like Patton gonna edge ahead there as they go through the tunnel turn, as it's known. They head towards turn number 3. It now looks like Michael getting a run as well. Michael gonna dive to the inside. And it's a little tricky here at this turn number 3, which, as you said, is configured for Milwaukee. As you have a couple of different lines that you can run through that corner. You can choose to later apex it, earlier apex it. Just depends on what's happening directly up in front of you. But here we watch on as Kyle Gilbert sizes up Scott Patton once again for that position. And I do love the raceability of Pocono Raceway as well. You know, it's not just turn 3, it's turn 1, turn 2. All these corners really have some different strategy and how you can set someone up for the pass, Christian.
Yeah, I would say turn 1 and 2 for sure. Turn 2, or turn 1 and 3, I should say. Turn 2 is kind of, you only have really one option, and that's just kind of run the bottom and hope it sticks. Turn 2 is kind of, over the years, gotten easier and easier. You know, it used to be kind of difficult for people to go too wide there, but today in real life, we saw people 3 wide and 4 wide through turn 2, and I think it's just a product of these cars having so much downforce. So people to do a little bit more through turn 2 now, but still not quite able to set up different types of runs, I would say. But definitely 1 and 3 you're able to.
Well, and again, getting that run through turn number 2 can possibly set you up for making a pass into turn number 3, even if you have to stay single file and you don't really get too much of an opportunity to make that pass directly into turn 2. But we watch on here as these drivers have really just kind of settled in, and right now, I mean, all the way back through 7th place is exactly where they qualified. If you look back into 8th place, that's Ryan Patty. He's gained a spot so far in this race and starting to come forward. There's Justin Michael just up in front. I was just reading ahead of this race some of the interesting notes laid out by Ryan Patty, the administrator here in the Icon Cup Series. He's managed to collect a lot of great info on these drivers, one of which is Justin Michael has been sim racing for 28 years. Since 1995, he's got a list of accomplishments to his name as he raced side by side through turn number 2 here, including the 2015 iRacing Coke 600 winner, 2015 iRacing 12 Hours of Sebring winner, and the 2020 iRacing Indy 500 winner. So, I mean, and just this year, adding the 24 Hours of Daytona as well to his list of accomplishments. It's really some incredible stuff from a driver who's been out there racing for a long time. And I know it speaks volumes to you, Christian, as you race with Justin Michael in other series, but also yourself a veteran of sim racing for so long.
Yeah, me and him have raced in other leagues together. I think it was about 10 years ago. Me and him were in a league that is no longer active, but I'm going to show Justin Michael's age here with this one. He's been racing for 28 years. I've been alive for 27. So he's been racing longer than I've been alive. So that's something there, I tell you.
Well, me and Justin will have to have a talk about the good old days sometime because I was right there with him. Oh, we've got the 227 of Gilbert having a real big sidestep of that machine. And
we have a caution, but
we've got the 7 turned around. That is Nathan Brzezowski. And we're going to have to check this one out and see exactly what caught him out. But you do see some damage on that number 7 machine.
Yeah, and he bases that paint scheme off of a car that he runs in real life, I believe. So I think it's a go-kart that he runs. He just gets loose and then overcorrects into the 56. Heavy damage for the 56 car.
Well, unfortunate for the 56 of Cody Neal to just be in the wrong place at the wrong time there. Let's see what it looked like from Cody's point of view here. So he was on the outside and just gets collected. Where you see the
nothing you can do in those circumstances. I mean, you just got to hold your line and hope that the guy below you is able to save it. And there's nothing he could have done different to avoid that. Honestly, he couldn't have braked to avoid it or gassed up or anything. It was just, that's going to happen.
Wow. Giving it a lot of correction as it tries to step out there in turn 3. And that car heads towards the infield wall. But fortunately, all drivers able to continue, and we are under our first caution of the night here at Pocono Raceway. So great to have you with us here on VirtualRacing.Network. Once again, the question has been posted into chat. Thus far, we've had no takers, Christian. This has been pretty interesting. Trivia question is, what track is turn number 1 here at Pocono Raceway based off of? And the hint is it is a since demolished track. It no longer exists. Two of the corners here were named for were built around tracks that do exist still to this day, but one of them has been destroyed. And
we got an answer. Is it right?
Did we? Okay, we'll check and see. In fact, X-Collie XV, X-Collie 15, Collie, check it in. Is that correct? Is that the correct answer? Yes, it is. Trenton Speedway, and the grand prize of
having your name called out.
Having your name called out, exactly.
Yeah.
Is yours, Collie. We appreciate you checking in with us and letting us know your answer and playing our trivia game. And in fact, not only that, I think we can go one better.
There you go. Woohoo!
That's all for you, Collie. We appreciate you joining in there in the chat and letting us know. Yes, in fact, Trenton Speedway, because this track, and Trenton actually hosted probably about 4 or 5 years of NASCAR action back in the 60s and 70s. And that was back in the days when it was the Winston Cup, for those of you old enough to remember that one. Going to racetracks and being handed free packages of cigarettes. It was a heck of a time out there in racing, let me tell you. We've got a lot of cars.
Not to mention the trophy girls, too.
Oh, there's a whole different world, Christian. It's a whole different world back then. A lot more to see than just the cars out there, let me tell you. One of the things.
It was an enjoyable world.
Well, I loved, back then, there was so much merchandise, too, compared to today.
Yeah.
Like, you used to
There
go...
were lines of trucks with merchandise. I remember going to Richmond in 2003. Every driver had their own truck of just merchandise full. Now there's barely any.
You're absolutely correct. That is totally the way that it was back in the day. I was kind of surprised. I took a little bit of time off of going to cup races, and I came back to one, and I was like, there's like 4 trucks here. That's interesting.
Yeah.
The most popular drivers, of course, have their own trucks, but back in the day, yeah, you had, 30, 40 trucks that would show up for these races with merch. But indeed, this track was built around Indy cars, and it was designed for Indy cars, and that's why it features these 3 tracks that were very meaningful back in the 60s and early 70s to Indy cars. But of course, NASCAR having a lot of great races here, and it's so unique that I think NASCAR and IndyCar can both count themselves very, very fortunate to be able to have a track just like this, as opposed to all of the cookie cutter Ds that we go to and all the other traditional ovals, this one actually being a triangle.
So, well, does IndyCar still race here? Because I believe they stopped racing here after that driver passed away a couple years ago.
Well, no, actually they do not continue to race here any longer. And he didn't pass away. He was injured here, and he still continues to live, and he's still out there racing. But unfortunately, not able to race in IndyCar. But they're taking years off here, and the IndyCar itself does not have the enclosure and the safety inherent in these NASCAR Next Gen machines, and so oval racing has kind of taken a step back for certain for IndyCar, and it's interesting because you look over at NASCAR as well and what they've been able to do on road courses and how they've stepped out to so many road courses and found success, that there's a lot of fan base in IndyCar that doesn't even necessarily want to see them return to ovals, but then you've got that really strong contingency. I mean, IndyCar was based out of USAC, so There's a lot of oval racers out there that would love to see them come back to Pocono and other places and hopefully um, get their safety more together. Robert Wickens is the driver who had that terrible
Yes.
accident up there in the tunnel turn. And that's part of the reason why it's so dangerous. But we're just about to come back to green flag here. Green is out. Brian Smith back on the gas, headed towards turn number 1.
Brian Smith the past few weeks has had some rough luck getting collected in accidents, but a good way to avoid those is lead the race, and that's what he's doing here.
Well, we've got some side-by-side action. How about Brandon Cawley sending it on the outside there? He almost got away with it. Looked like he had the fast way through. We've got a yellow further back. Several drivers caught up in this one.
That one was really bad. I saw pieces and parts flying. That's the 87 of Justin Michael. Now the 49 involved.
That's William Baker. Stephen Tuck, I believe, caught up in that one.
Justin Michael has had a rough couple of weeks. My goodness.
Well, let's step back and check it out. The old cautions, precautions situation playing out here once again. We'll take a look here and see if we can tell what happened to Justin Michael as he comes through the corner. He looks like the car there on his outside just came down the track a bit and he wasn't expecting it.
Oh, that was a devastating hit to the inside wall.
Indeed.
Kind of reminds me of Elliott Sadler's terrible crash here back, I believe it was 2010, around that year.
Yeah,
My goodness.
I mean, the speed inherent at a track like this, it looks like the 87 just kind of washes up the track a bit, as well as the 9 coming down the track and trying to avoid the 46 right in front. So both drivers kind of getting into each other, but monster hit there. Unfortunately, backs into one car and then nowhere to go for the number 10 of Stephen Tuck. So let's take a look at what Stephen Tuck saw from his point of view. This is on board here with Tuck as we come through the corner. And again, at these kinds of speeds, there's just, if you're going to make contact, it's probably going to be a really bad hit.
Oh, looking up ahead, that 49 car, the reason he got into the wreck is he ran over debris.
Let's check
He
that
ran
one
over
out.
debris and it got him sideways and into the wall. You'll see a part of Justin Michael's car come up in front of him and then he loses control. So here's the debris. He hits it.
Indeed.
Hits another piece of debris and then you can see the car just starts going sideways.
He takes a hood to the windshield, and the car heads to the right. Let's take one more look at this one and see if we can tell from inside the car. It's scary stuff to see car parts flying at you at 150 miles an hour. There's one. There's right into the windshield.
And it just sends the car around. My goodness. Well, if that isn't realistic, I don't know what is. I've never seen anything like that.
That is something else. Well, these cars sending parts all over the place out there on the track, and unfortunately collecting a couple of vehicles with some extra parts being laid out there on the track and them running them over. But something you got to watch for in real life, something you got to watch for here in the sim. Brad Slagle for Average Show Motorsports coming down onto pit road. Kevin Gunther as well. Christopher Howell on pit road, and Cody Neal taking service there in the number 56.
I think what those guys are going to do that just came down pit road, they know there's a stage break coming at lap 25. So what they'll do is stay out potentially at that and then pit under green during the second stage.
Definitely good idea. A lot of different strategies how you're going to handle those stage breaks and when you want to make your pit stop, early, late, right after the stage break. Completely decision based off of some of it's based off of what you think other people are going to do, but everybody out there to try to get as many points as they can, and of course you want to get that stage victory. That adds a little bit to your total at the end of the night. But tell you what, the top 4 drivers all exactly in the same place that they started, But you don't have to look any further back than 5th place. This is a guy, Justin Smith here, who has gained a ton of positions. 13 positions gained already for Smith in the Busch machine, and that's some impressive doing. I mean, he's basically done that in as many laps, 13 laps out there. So Smith, definitely one to keep your eye on. He may have something to say about this race win before it's all over.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Some of these guys that weren't able to get qualifying in, their laps in, are coming from the back, and we kind of expected this in Jacob Smith, I believe. One of those who did not get his time in. I could be incorrect in that, but he's moving up the field pretty well here so far.
Well, the 27-year-old out of Detroit, Michigan, 313 Motorsports, already climbing the ladder. Indeed, well, 18 positions. I think more people than that got in qualifying time. So perhaps just not a very good qualifying effort. Kind of like what we saw from Cody Height, who currently is stuck a ways back in the field. He's sitting back here in 19th place. Cody Height on YouTube, as he's known, just behind his teammate. Actually, 3 teammates running in a row there for Harper Motorsports. And we haven't really spoken about this. We've got a new driver that has joined us here tonight. Very familiar to those of you who watch the NORA series on VirtualRacing.Network. That's Nick Geilis, who typically is out there running for Nightmare Motorsports, but tonight he's under the Full Send banner for you, Christian.
Yeah, he said he was interested in coming over and trying out Icon, and I told him I had a car open if he wanted to drive it, and he said as long as he could paint it, he would drive it. So that is a Nightmare Graphics paint scheme on a Full Send car. Because we are about to go green here, single file restart.
Cool stuff how everybody's working together out there, and of course a lot of excitement on this Icon Cup series. It's totally full, not accepting any more entries. So I think he made a great move of snapping up those entries there for Full Send, Christian, and as a result able to offer that. Brian Smith charges into turn 1 once again. No problems for him. Jovi Ray hanging on in 2nd place. It's where he qualified. Vincent Loria in 3rd and Brandon Cawley in 4th, but we're side by side a little bit further back as you can see Ronnie Norman now looking to the inside. That's on Sean Purcell. That's for 15th place on the track.
Yeah, I gotta say, with the track this big, single file restarts is not, man, it puts everybody on back from 10th on back in a disadvantage. Definitely would like to see double file restarts at tracks bigger than a mile, but we can see here Nathan Finnegan working underneath. Can't tell who that is, but he actually lost ground there, and Ryan Patty gonna make a pass here. Mike Jennings on his outside, I believe.
That is Mike Jennings out there, and just behind Ryan Patty, switching side to side. Patty going very high on the track. He's
too high,
possibly up into that wall. He'll bring it back down.
And right in behind his running mate, Ronnie Norman. They always find each other throughout these races.
Absolutely, and of course, also Ryan Patty coming over and having a great race over in the NORA Cup Series last week after taking victory here. Thought he was going to steal victory in the NORA Cup Series, but back at it in his own series here in Icon once again. Back in front, though, no problems. Brian Smith leading the way in that number 78. Just behind one of the few independents in the field not racing with the team. That is Jovi Ray. And Jovi, as we spoke, already has a race win here in Icon, but because he is not a full-time entrant, does not auto-qualify for the playoffs. So Jovi's going to need to get some serious points here accrued so that he can make the playoffs on points. But looking back a little bit further, there's some side-by-side racing between Jacob Smith and Brandon Cawley. This is Jacob Smith trying to, actually that's Cawley trying to take that position. Excuse me, Gilbert.
Yeah. Oh, Gilbert, yeah.
And Smith. Still getting all these numbers figured out here. But
yeah, Gilbert had to get out of the throttle there coming out of 3. He got really close to the wall and had to check up. But now he's gonna roll back by him on the outside. Now Jacob gonna try getting the run off the corner here in turn 1. So we look back behind him. He is still side by side with Gilbert. You know, typically we don't see people go side by side through turn 2. So let's see if this works out here.
well, a little difficult to hang it on the outside. As you see, he gets a little loose there, but they do stay side by side. This is really giving the number 38 for Brendan Jenks. Oh,
he turned him. Oh, no. In front of the entire field, too.
Oh, the calamity.
Scott Patton involved. Brendan Jenks involved. More cars piling in here. We've got ARCA brake situation happening. My goodness.
Multiple cars involved. We've got Jacob Smith, Adam Ball, Scott Patton.
Scott Patton with nowhere to go in that one. He's going to pull it behind the wall.
Guylis, Brendan Jenks, number of drivers involved. We're going to have to... This is going to take a few minutes to sort out all of the drivers that are involved here. But, of course, let's take a look at Gilbert because he was kind of the center of this thing. See if we can get the camera on him. And, of course, jump to this chopper view. Let's just look at it as they head into the corner here.
Oh, it's kind of a situation that happened in real life, between Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon. Yeah, it looked like Kyle Gilbert went to turn into the corner early, and Jacob Smith wasn't turning yet and just turned across his nose. So Jacob Smith and Kyle Gilbert involved. And that's what started it, and then just everyone behind it piled in. We'll have to take a look at Scott Patton's view and see exactly how he gets piled into it. Looks like Nick Guylis able to avoid it.
I don't know. That machine does not look good. Weaving back and forth there. Let's see. He was back here with the 28. 28 dives to the inside. Guylis staying on the outside, seeing what's coming up. And he does make heavy contact with the 46. That's Scott Patton. So let's see if we can tell what happened to Scott Patton coming through this mess.
Just, that's... Didn't slow down for it.
Well, they were kind of wrecking right up in front. Tough to say how he could have steered around that one. Would have had to go to the grass or
maybe
perhaps further up the track, slam on the brakes. Not really sure. Comes into the pit's a little hot there, but
driving a little angry, I'm sure. Wreck happens in front of you, nothing you can do, and then you get it collected. You're driving mad after that.
You've never done that, I take it, Christian?
No, I've never driven mad in my life. What are you talking about?
No red mist ever occurring under the helmet?
Never.
You ever intentionally taken someone out after they wrecked you?
No comment. I'm just here so I don't get fined,
Exactly. I feel like that kind of stuff sort of works itself out after the first few years of sim racing. Like, you get really fired up about that stuff, but you do enough official races, you get wrecked out of so many official races that it's just sort of like, what's the point of even trying to take somebody else out? Or in one of these league races, there's a, admin procedure that happens, of course, unlike official iRacing races where somebody would have to be protested. And you definitely don't want to get in trouble for intentionally taking somebody out, even if you were upset.
Yeah, I gotta give Scott a rough time. Me and him raced. I think it was Thursday, and he ended my day on Thursday. So I gotta give him a few words, a little jab here and there. But no, he was involved in a wreck on Thursday and just kind of collected me, and I was like, oh man.
Well, we got a number of drivers sitting on pit road, as you know. Sean Purcell,
a lot of drivers.
Just made it out of the pits. Brendan Jenks for full send. Still a lot of damage on that number 38. Kyle Gilbert just behind. He survived the mess, but certainly some damage there. Tanner Dio, what can be said? The Stone Milland Works, number 20 machine. It started.
I'm glad you could read it. It's a little wrinkled for me.
It's looking a little wrinkly, like some aluminum foil that's been crinkled up a little bit. But Dio, one of the independents in the field, and he gets that car going again. I'll have to catch up as we're just about to come back to the green flag here. Just about to start lap number 23. And of course, as you mentioned, that stage break coming up very soon. So these drivers that maybe thought they might have something for the leader, gonna have to try to get up there and make a pass on Brian Smith somehow. Brandon Cawley, the first driver there, sitting in third place, who has actually managed to climb up a spot. Actually, now that it resets, I think it's back to the way that it was. But we've got Justin Bissonnette for Collar City Racing, currently sitting in the 5th spot. He's up 28 positions here tonight. Andrew Cootie up 10 positions. So some of these drivers really earning their stripes here at Pocono, moving through the field. And as we come through turn number 3, we're about to get this one fired up once again.
Yeah, we are double file again here, so you're going to see them fan out 3 and 4 wide going into turn 1. Oh, I think that was a new rule that they just added, that you can't change lanes before the start-finish line, so I don't know what the penalty might be, but I did see some announcements, and I think that was one of them, that you're not allowed changing lanes. So we'll have to see.
We'll have to see if the big hammer comes down during or after the race. You see Ryan Patty back there in 7th place. He would have had a good view of that. But we race on here. Who will have something to go after Brian Smith up in the lead? That's a good question. Jovi Ray also has looked pretty unstoppable in 2nd place. Now the race is coming on here for 3rd between Vincent Loria and Brandon Cawley.
Yeah, Brandon Cawley was the one that actually answered our trivia question while he was behind the cockpit under caution. He answered our trivia question, so he's multitasking out here. And now he's battling for his life here in 4th place, as he's about to lose it to Andrew Cootie, and he's about to go back to 5th place now.
Indeed, I thought that was him, and now looking over in the YouTube chat, I see that he says he was racing and doing trivia at the same time. We appreciate you watching and posting and letting us let everybody know your trivia IQ. So
they're 3 wide back there.
Well, we're now racing on the final lap of this first stage, so these drivers going to be fanning out, looking for position. As we come into the final corner, it's going to be Brian Smith, who is in the lead, Jovi Ray in 2nd, and Vincent Loria, who's hanging on to that 3rd spot. And we've got quite a lot of racing just behind, including that's Cootie and Cawley. Cawley dropping back, and Justin Bissonnette is going to get 5th place.
Yeah, only the top 5 get points, and Bissonnette got it right at the line.
Indeed, he did. In fact, if we back this up here, we can probably see this pass. We might have to go one more lap ahead, as they were still steaming along, and there was the pass for position. It was only by the tiniest of margins, but I think Bissonnette getting credit for taking that position. So with that, we're going to take a momentary break here on VirtualRacing.Network. We're going to reset. We'll be right back for all of that great green flag Icon Cup Series action coming up here to the conclusion of round number 3 at Pocono Raceway. Stay tuned. welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. You saw it there in the pits. Number of drivers choosing to stay out. They pitted earlier, but it was in fact Jovi Ray who managed to snake that position away from Brian Smith in the pits. Just a little bit faster, 14:48 in the box to 15:15 for Smith, and that little bit was the difference. Nick Alford taking over the lead here of the race. Nathan Finnegan in second, Cody Neal in third, Jacob Smith in fourth, and Ronnie Norman in fifth. And right now, I believe that we have a chance to chat with our winner of stage number 1, Brian Smith. Congratulations, Brian. This is Trevor Greenfield here in the booth, my friend.
Hey guys, yeah, thanks. Just staying out and taking advantage of the clean air and a couple teammates behind me. It wasn't too difficult to win the stage.
Yeah, it was. It seemed like you were pretty unstoppable. Jovi was sitting there in second place. Just could not get a run on you. What do you think it's going to take to be able to take the overall victory today? How's the track and how's the car feeling to you overall?
I think it's going to be a game of track position at the end of the race and just making sure you put tires on it at the right time. And it's probably going to be a stay out at the end type deal. And I think it's just going to be a matter of survival too. I mean, I'm back here in 7th now. Haven't been used to the car in the middle of the pack, so we'll see how it drives. But I think I'll get back up to the front in no time.
Well, there's been a lot of single car getting into multiple other vehicles out there. What do you have to do to avoid some of these incidents? You got your extra feelers out there trying to make sure you don't get it wrapped up into someone else's incident?
Yeah, I'd say probably the tunnel turn's the trickiest one because you want to stick behind someone as close as you can, but if they overdrive it and hit that wall on exit, there's really not much you can do. But, thankfully I've had clean air there the whole race and I haven't had to follow anyone through there yet. So we'll see how it goes on this restart, though. I think it'll be interesting.
Well, we appreciate you chatting with us, and good luck out there. We'll look forward to talking to you after this race.
Yep, thanks, guys.
So that is Brian Smith. He took stage number 1. He's going to be restarting back here in 7th place. And as you alluded to, Christian, there may be some possible rule infractions there that we'll look forward to finding out later on. But there is a rule in the rule book that says no lane changes before you get to start-finish line. And that may be a problem for one or more of these drivers come post-race.
Yeah, to be exact, it is section 4.1A, to be exact.
Well, that is Christian Snyder, who does his homework where is necessary, and that means knowing the rules. And certainly if you're a racer out there, read those rules cover to cover and memorize as much of it as you can so that you don't make those mistakes that are so costly. But it's going to be Finnegan and Alford there at the front, and finally Alford gets going. I don't think he got enough of a jump to clear Finnegan into turn 1.
Yeah, he waited until the last second in that restart zone to get going, and these guys are fanning out 3 and 4 wide heading into the corners on the back in the field. And now you see it looks like Jacob Smith taking it 3 wide here for second.
You see we've got a car around.
Oh,
that's a big crash.
Goodness.
67 caught up in that one. There's Sean Purcell caught in that. You've got Brendan Jenks. Jenks had just escaped another incident. And, of course, Tanner Dio, he had just escaped another one as well. I think Mark Morton, who we haven't been able to talk about too much, and Vincent Lauria perhaps caught in that one as well. Lauria, one of the top finishers in that first stage. Christian, let's see if we can figure out exactly what took place here.
We'll have to see here. It looks like Mark Morton coming up the track as Vincent just turns down, and and then both of them go hard into the inside wall here. You'll see the 67 bounce back into traffic. There's nothing he could do, whether he holds the brakes or not. He's going up the track. You can see both of them have their brakes jammed up, and just nothing they could do to avoid going back up into traffic. And can't tell who that is that gets into it right there.
I think that's Purcell
car
in the 04 car there, and
yeah, the Bluey Mobile. I believe he's got Bluey on that car. Must have kids that enjoy the show.
I believe, and also Brock Hersey in the 24, I believe, getting into that crash as well. Let's see from Brock's point of view what took place. See cars crashing down to the low side. You try to stay to the high side, and Christian, there's just no escaping. Take a look.
Yeah, they ricocheted off that wall so hard that there's just nothing you could do. I mean, they were coming back up the track no matter what.
3 wide here, and Morton comes up the track a little bit and then gets a car to his right straight into him, and that's how quickly it ends here. I mean, we're talking within just a couple of seconds you're going from racing 3 wide to not racing at all. Let's see if Loria's point of view is any more telling on the subject. Loria
I think he was trying to avoid ahead of him. He saw someone get into the wall ahead of him and overreacted, pulled down, and didn't know that Mark Morton was underneath him there.
Well, I think Loria finished, I want to say, 4th in that first stage, and unfortunately for him, that's going to do it. I mean, you heard the engine pop on that one. Here's Brendan Jenks. He escaped one earlier. Gets to the center here. Nowhere to go. Wow, he managed to avoid it.
And then gets hit from behind there and keeps it off the wall, though.
Wow, what a save by Jenks. And he was involved in this one, but just barely avoids serious injury to his vehicle.
And just to update, Tim Harper also out of this race. A storm knocked his power out.
Oh. Well, it is certainly that time of year where there are many thunderstorms, etc. going around. Here in my part of Florida, we're getting... It'll be a nice sunny day out there. And when I say nice sunny day, I mean 96 degrees and humid. That's what I mean. It'll be a nice sunny day, and then within a very short period of time, you hear the thunder coming, and it'll be a monsoon on top of you before too long. So that kind of thing drifting around all out here. And, of course, lots of drivers, you know, it's just, unfortunately, this is just part of racing. And in real life, if there's thunderstorms, of course, everybody has to be evacuated from the stands, and you have to shut down the racing anyway. But internet problems are certainly a thing, and power outages are a thing, and affects, it seems like almost every race there's somebody who has to drop out due to some sort of connection issue or to a power outage or something.
Yeah, I've always chalked them up to, you know, the real-life version of a mechanical failure, whether it's an engine letting go or, you know, electronics in the car not working or power steering, you know, anything like that that could take you out of the race in real life. I always say, well, my internet just caused me to blow my engine, so I'm out for the day.
That is a great way to look at it. It's easier to relate it to real life just like that. And that does happen a lot. You see it all the time. People coming in with little electrical gremlins, having to switch batteries, having to change out small parts on the car that just seem to have failed. As we see, unfortunately, Vincent Loria having to sit there on pit lane and take on service. It looks like Mark Morton, too much damage as well. He appears to be out of this one. As the lights are out on the pace truck, I'm going to be going green this time by. It's Nick Alford who's going to be in the lead, followed by Cody Neal, Nathan Finnegan, Jacob Smith, and Jovi Ray. He's managed to get himself back up there into that 5th spot.
Yeah, Brian Smith was behind Jovi Ray coming out of pit road, but he still has a couple cars that he's got to get by to get back up to where he was. I believe he restarted 7th, and he's already back to 8th.
Well, I would say take a look at who is just behind Jovi Ray out there on the same pit strategy as him. That's Stormin' Ronnie Norman, who's managed to work himself up there into 6th spot. He's already technically up 2 spots from where he qualified, but Ronnie right now is kind of in the virtual 2nd place in that pit strategy that happened right after the stage caution. But either way, Nick Alford, we'll see if he can get a better start this time. Try and get on the gas a little bit earlier.
He waited long again, and a couple of cars kind of bumping each other on back. And look at the gap that these guys get here with this single file restart. My goodness.
Well, everybody's got to deal with it for certain, but a big old gap between second and third place. But you can see them kind of starting to come together, and some of these drivers starting to challenge there. You see the 30 trying to challenge as well for position. Actually, I think that's, no, that's the 00. That's Jovi Ray challenging the number 4 car for Smith. So we'll see whether or not he can make that pass on Jacob Smith. As we mentioned earlier, Jacob already up 14 spots here tonight. Nathan Finnegan, as a result of staying out there, 27 spots gained. But up here in front, they are challenging. So Finnegan and Smith just barely holding off Jovi Ray. Here comes Jovi Ray down the inside of Smith. He's going to try to take that position. And you can also see Neal starting to look at possibly making that pass on Alford as Ray still tries to look. There you see further back, that's Andrew Cootie. I believe, no, excuse me, Brian Smith for 313 that's trying to take a look on Andrew Cootie.
Oh man, I believe that's Jacob Smith, got really loose there out of 2. Almost got tagged by Jovi Ray, but here's the side-by-side battle. Looks like Finnegan going to take the spot for second on the outside. So good run for him here, as he's going to try looking at maybe getting Alford here on the front stretch. He's got a run on him. See what he does with it.
Got a sizable run. Is he going to line him up to the inside? No, he won't. University of Rhode Island rides on that car. Takes a look to the inside of Alford. Alford standing tall there in second, of 3 or 4 wide as they try to work their way. That's
that was Jovi and Cootie way low, passing I believe that was Jacob Smith and Cody Neal.
Indeed, as we look a little bit further back, this is still a long ways from sorted back here. And you're absolutely right. That was Jacob Smith having a big moment there, but back up front, it is in fact Finnegan who's managed to steal the top position. So move Finnegan up into the front.
We still see a little bit of a battle here behind them between, it looks like, Cootie and Jovi Ray. Cootie tried backing up the corner and is now going to have a run down the Long Pond straightaway here.
Jovi Ray caught in this gaggle of cars here. So you can see Alford in the Inspire Motorsports number 15 just in front of Ray, and then Cootie for CCH Motorsports just behind, but right now alongside as they come off of turn 3.
Oh, he's trying to side draft him, pull him back here. Good strategy. You just got to be careful with iRacing. You know, sometimes netcoding, whenever you try to side draft this tight, especially going into turn 1. But they're able to make it work so far. And with Cootie being on the inside, he should have a decent run off corner, but he can't put all the power down because you got a car to your outside. So that's why typically we see the outside lane work better through turn 1.
Well, they make their way down to the tunnel turn. Sorted out just long enough to get single file, but this has been an action-filled race so far. Lots of passing for position here at Pocono Raceway. You can see him trying to do exactly the same just in front. That's the 78 of Brian Smith making his way through the field. Now, is he going to try to take a look at Jovi Ray?
I think he's gonna let Jovi kind of deal with this one, as we got a wreck back in the back here.
This is a big wreck. I believe Cody Hite caught in this one. Possibly Tanner Dio once again. Brock Hersey. Oh my goodness, a number of drivers caught in this one. Isaac Emerson I think, also caught in this one. So let's see what Isaac Emerson saw here.
This gets loose, overcorrects into the wall. Cody Height overcorrects trying to avoid it. But Isaac Emerson, the one that had the most trouble here. I have to see if anyone else got involved in that with Cody Height as he went around. But you can see Emerson hard to the right there with the wheel and just gets hard into the wall. And then up in front of him, Cody Height spins trying to avoid him.
Got absolutely pile drived there into the wall. And let's see what Height saw. Came through that turn number 3. Almost.
Oh, he gets hit.
He does get hit a little bit, and I think a little bit of damage on that vehicle if we take a look. It doesn't look too bad.
That was Brendan Jenks getting into him there.
Jenks has been at the center of a number of these incidents, quickly going through his 9 lives out there. More parts laying on the racetrack. Wow, just barely manages to clip Cody, and full send esports driver of Brendan Jenks manages to gather it back together. We're going to take a momentary break here on VirtualRacing.Network. We'll be right back with lots more green flag action from Pocono Raceway. Stay tuned. Be right back. and welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. You're watching the Icon Cup Series live here at VirtualRacing.Network, as you can every Sunday. So if you're not already a subscriber here on the network, make sure to hit that big subscribe button. And if you don't mind liking this video, hitting that thumbs up as well. We appreciate it. Helps us to spread the word about this race and everything else that we're doing here at VirtualRacing.Network. And a big part of it has been Christian Snyder, who's been calling all of the NORA Series action, as well as Icon Cup Series here as well. And Christian, tomorrow night you're actually going to be racing behind the wheel of the trucks.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back behind the wheel. It's been a while since the All-Star race for NORA Cup. That's the last time I ran, so it's going to be fun to get back behind the wheel of the trucks. And I figured what better track than, a track that's about 2 hours away from my house. So I've always wanted to win at Pocono, never been able to on iRacing, so we'll see if I might be able to get the job done tomorrow.
Well, stay tuned for that tomorrow night here on VirtualRacing.Network. But you can see it on your screen. Jovi Ray, this is your new leader, coming back to the green. Brian Smith in second, as Finnegan and Alford did pit under that caution to, and a number of drivers as we focused on pitted for new tires and fuel. There you can see at the front, Cody Neal in that third spot. Cody was taking a look there. Looks like Smith now starting to size up Ray. Of course, Smith taking that first stage. Looks like he may have something to say for Ray before the end of this one. And we've got another caution back here.
I knew that wasn't going to work. They were 3 wide heading into turn 2, and something had to give there. And that started with Blade Timmons, I believe. That was a bright orange car.
Well, that's one thing about having a bright car out there. It makes it real easy to see you, but also makes it easy to spot you if you cause a caution. Let's see if it was, in fact, Blade Timmons who leads us to this caution, as they're 3 wide. You see the 15 there in the middle, the 06 on the outside, and definitely looks a little bit of right front to left rear action from Timmons into that number 15 machine.
Yeah, it looks like the 15 barely came down maybe like an inch while Blade was coming up a couple inches, and just get into the corner 3 wide. Usually doesn't work in turn 2, and sure enough, multiple cars pile into this one. Cody Height involved, Tim Harper involved. He came back out after his internet issues. Blade Timmons involved, so 3 Harper Motorsports guys involved in this one, and Brendan Jenks as well involved.
Yeah, unfortunately for Full Send Esports as well, not having a great night out there. A lot of drivers getting caught up in this one. Let's back it up, and we'll see if we can determine which drivers managed to take their hands off the wheel heading into this one. There's a few nasty wrecks here. Cody Height, unfortunately, getting caught right in the middle of that one and driving right into the side of poor Tanner Dio, who just can't seem to escape him. And speaking of can't seem to escape it, Brendan Jenks, one of those drivers as well. Let's see if we can see what it looked like from his point of view. He had already escaped by that point.
Yeah, that's a hard hit into the outside wall head on, so that's going to be a day ender for Brendan Jenks. He took it behind the wall.
Just some hard licks for some of these drivers, and it's always so unrewarding. It just seems like a punishment. You put in such a good race, you survive some other incidents, in your mind you're already, you're doing the math. You're saying, okay, I'm still on the lead lap. I can make it back into the top 10. Maybe I got a little bit of damage, and then it's all heck breaks loose in front of you, Christian, and nowhere to go. And it just, puts you out of the race, or you've got significant damage, like Guyla's saying he had about 10 minutes of damage. It just seems like quite the punishment for no reason.
Yeah, just, man, a lot of cars involved throughout these races, and it's never your fault, you know. A lot of people say it's never my fault. I'm always collected in this one, man. You hate to see these wrecks. You know, these guys are no slouches behind the wheel. They're not bad drivers. It's just bad circumstances that catch them in trouble. And unfortunately, you know, cautions breed cautions, as I've always said. And you know, the double file restart thing, it works, but some people just get aggressive and make it 3 wide, and that usually causes it. But I do want to break down the rule here, because what these guys are doing here, they're going to come back and do a single file restart. And the reason is whenever they do a double file, if the before they take the next lap, a caution comes out, they will change it to single file restarts to try to prevent further cautions.
And it hasn't worked yet.
It hasn't.
But, you know, you'd think some of these drivers would get the picture. Brennan Cawley checking in over on YouTube, voicing his opinion, thought it was just a short track where they couldn't drive. Nope, it's everywhere. Have fun with all that. Well, Cawley a little frustrated, I think, with the way that things have worked out here tonight at Pocono. I know a number of these drivers are. And again, you know, Christian, I hate to say it, but sometimes, you know, you want to be able to race hard the whole race. You want to be able to go for positions. You want to be able to just really, you know, aside from the pit stops you got to make and you know, any
Right.
sort of being a little bit, maybe you're just not quite as fast as the leader or something, so you're going to be running mid-pack or something. But you want to be able to go for it the whole time. And yet, in a race like this, I mean, if you just kind of steer clear of everybody, you're going to have a guaranteed top 20. Like, even if you just run at the back, you're going to get a top 20 out of this race.
Yeah, I mean, some of the guys that were even running, you know, calmly, one of those guys was Nick Gillis. He was just kind of running in the back and, you know, keeping calm, and he got collected into a wreck because someone didn't hold their brakes. So what I think it is, it's these drivers that are super aggressive drivers mixing with guys that aren't that aggressive, that are used to just racing nice and relaxed. But whenever those clash, you got people making it 3 wide that know that that can work, but that might be a 3 wide with someone who doesn't like 3 wide racing and doesn't think it's necessary. So whenever that clashes, you have these type of wrecks.
It's actually very well explained, and it does speak to the different types of racing that these drivers like to do and they're comfortable with. So we're going to try it again. Single file restart. Jovi Ray leads us back to that green flag. Second place, Brian Smith. Third, Cody Neal. Andrew Cody in fourth, and Jamie Lee Dunning in fifth. And right now, just outside of that top 5 is also Stormin Ronnie Norman. Then also Christopher Howell. First time that we've been talking about him up in the top 10, but now up 24 positions for Howell. And these yellows kind of helping some of these drivers out, as you see Cody and Neal racing side by side for that third spot.
Cody made a quick move to the outside as soon as Cody left him a little bit of a gap, and he's able to take that position, as now Jamie Lee Dunning, remember I mentioned that he didn't get a qualifying lap in, and he is now in the top 5. So no surprise there. He's been running really good the past 2 races here in Icon. So no surprise he's in the top 5. And also, you did mention Ronnie Norman sitting in 6th. And he's going to hate me for saying this, but he is the only Harper guy that hasn't had any issues yet. Knock on wood.
Well, good thing you were able to say that during the broadcast. Perhaps we should interview him as well, just to set the curse. But
just to make it work.
Just to make it official. But, you know, they do keep track of the hard chargers here in the Icon Cup Series. And you talk about hard charge, and Jamie Lee Dunning up 30 spots here to be up into the 5th position. So congratulations to him. You see a little bit of side-by-side here. This is Ryan Patty now trying to make that move on Christopher Howell. That's for 7th place. Patty, as mentioned, already a race winner and leading the points. And right now running in 8th place. A little bit of swapping for positions, though, as looks like Ronnie Norman tries to make the move on Jamie Lee Dunning up in front.
Yeah, Ronnie kind of looked a little bit low there, but he's going to think better of it here. Just he's one of those guys that I mentioned earlier. He just likes to ride, doesn't really like to push things, and likes to get whatever finish he can get. He doesn't like to force the car to do more than it should, and that's the type of driver he is. And some people like to push their car as hard as they can, you know, on the edge of out of control every lap, and that's what these three are doing as they are battling for this lead up here. You got Cootie, Smith, and Ray all battling for this lead.
Well, and you can see also on lap number 48, last lap, Cootie setting the fastest lap of the race. So this is quite the battle happening for the top three at the moment. They continue to fight on here. This is, I mean, this is just so close here that a blanket could cover these three. Smith takes a look to the inside of Ray as they exit turn number 1. He's going to try to take it into turn number 2, the tunnel turn. Of course, Smith had so much success in the opening stage, taking the first stage victory, and now that opens the door for Cootie to try to take second place from Jovi Ray, and Cootie is going to do it.
Yeah, Jovi let Brian Smith by.
Whoa!
And the reason, wow, he
what
drove
a
it
move
deep
from
into the
Cootie. Wow, he absolutely almost snaked Brian Smith and did a 2-for-1 coming through turn number 3, and now he races side by side with Jovi Ray for second, who did the over-under on him.
Oh, wow, behind them, 7 cars side by side battling into turn 1. Look at this battle. My goodness. I think that's Cody Neal and Jamie Lee Dunning side by side for 4th place, and then behind them you got 3 wide here.
That's Finnegan down to the inside, trying to make it 3 wide into the tunnel turn. He thinks twice about that one. See a number, I mean, they're still 2 wide, 2 rows too wide, including Ronnie Norman up there in that orange NOS car. There comes Ryan Patty down to the inside of the number 54 machine of Jamie Lee Dunning, trying to take that position.
I tell you what, you want to hear impressive. Ronnie Norman, before this race, was actually at a baseball game. So he got done playing baseball, comes back here, and he's racing now. So he's a man of multiple sports.
Indeed. He just had that blood pumping and still in peak physical condition.
He probably drank a couple of NOS Energies before the race to make him drive like this, because like I said, usually he's calm. He's out here driving through the field.
Well, there you go. Either his heart's going to explode or he's going to win the race, one or the other. Racing there in that NOS number 18. Trying to now take a look at Cody Neal in 4th place, and just up in front, nothing's changed in this tight battle for the top spot. Brian Smith still leading this 3-car train of Cootie and Ray. But then you jump back to this battle. It's 6 cars, excuse me. Cody Neal, Ronnie Norman, Jamie Lee Dunning, Nathan Finnegan, and Christopher Howell all together running in this group, with Ryan Patty at the back end of it. And they go side by side once again. There's Neal on the outside of Norman. Norman, I think, going to take this position headed into turn number 2.
He's going to lose ground there somehow, but he will try to defend off of Nathan Finnegan here.
Well, Finnegan now going to give that shot at Ronnie Norman on the outside. It looks like Finnegan's going to take that position. So move Nathan Finnegan for Color City Racing up 25 spots here tonight, up into 5th place. And now he's going to try his hand at Cody Neal.
And these guys are, with all this battle in there, 3 seconds now behind Jovi Ray, so their chance at a top 3 is slowly dwindling down. Minus if a caution comes out here, they're going to have to use pit strategy, which we haven't talked about yet, the possibility of some people taking 2 tires. We saw it in real life. Kyle Larson takes 2 tires, was able to come back out into the lead. And then Hamlin on no tires, and then Truex on 4 tires. So it was a mixture of all these strategies, so that interested to see if we're going to see anything like that here in the Icon Cup Series.
I'll tell you what, Patty just had a big moment coming through turn 2. I did like how you phrased that, if there's another caution, and I really appreciate that optimism here. Christian, as you see Patty correcting a bit coming off of turn number 3, and right now working their way through lap number 54. This race coming up on 2/3 of the way done. And now they're racing side by side in front. That's Ronnie Norman, who's just slides up in front of Neil. And they're still racing hard for that 4th place.
He tried the old slide job to get underneath him and get that outside lane, which is preferred. And he's able to take that position now from Cody Neal. So good slide job there for Ronnie Norman, and we got a caution.
As we were just talking about, unfortunately, this involves one of those drivers that was up there in the top 2 just before we had a previous caution. This is Nick Alford finding some more difficulty out there on the track. Take a look and see what happened to poor Nick. He was racing a ways back in the field. And it looks like, is that Jennings?
Yeah, it looked like Jennings went to side draft, and maybe iRacing thought he was closer than he was, and it net coded into Nick Alford, and around he goes.
Well, you talked about it earlier, Christian, and that is the danger of side drafting, is that it may not register exactly correctly where exactly you are. So, I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But when you're trying to race inches apart, again, we talked about there's a lot of good things with the internet connection situation and the net code that has been figured out with iRacing, but unfortunately there's some downsides. And certainly, as we were talking about with Harper dropping out and there being problems in the atmosphere and things across state lines that cause issues, you know, just one little glitch while you're trying to race somebody inches apart, you know, if you're states apart, that little glitch could trigger the net code to think, oh, they've made contact. So you got to give a little bit of space, and it's hard to know exactly when to do that, but got to do your best. Everybody coming into pit road now.
Not to mention, at Atlanta, we even had an alien abduction. I don't know if you remember that. A car just absolutely vanished off the track. And we said he was abducted by aliens. Oh, no, it was Nashville, I believe. Nashville.
Well, we have all kinds of things happen here on VirtualRacing.Network. We've had gnomes. We've had aliens. I don't even know what to say. We've had plenty of full moons.
We've had Ryan Bird pecking away at the lead. That was, you know, that was something. Oh, we're not short on the jokes here. You know, we like to have fun, but obviously we obviously like to stay serious with these leagues, and they appreciate some of the jokes that we make, but not all of them. Oh my goodness.
Well, you know, there's a lot of cautions during the race, and you got to keep your focus. If you're a driver, if you're a commentator, whatever. But it's fun to joke around a little bit. You hear it a lot on the comm radios during the cautions. These drivers will be joking around with each other, and a lot of these guys know each other. They know each other from online racing, whether it's in iRacing, other sims. They've raced with each other in leagues before. They will have raced with each other in official races, and there's just a great camaraderie a lot of times in these leagues, etc. Sometimes it gets a little heated, but you got to keep yourself somewhat sane if you're working on, you know, the 7th or 8th caution. Like right now, this being the 8th caution, 7th due to incidents, and you just got to keep everything pointed forward and keep yourself feeling sharp, because the reality is, with 24 laps to go here, Christian, I mean, this could turn into a shootout, and you've got to stay on your game. You got to be ready when that green flag drops, that you are ready to make the passes that you need to and put your car in position to potentially take victory.
Yeah, that's about all I can say. Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, that's the reason why you joke around. You take the edge off a little bit because you don't want to just be sitting there just like your mind glued into the strategy. It's very, you're racing out there for an hour, 2 hours at a time sometimes, and you got to do something to take that pressure off. Inches apart from other drivers. Jacob Smith and Brian Smith, both racing for 313 Motorsports. They're going to be at the front end of this field when we come back to the green flag here. So interesting how things have worked themselves out in the teams. Andrew Cootie in third place, Nathan Finnegan in fourth. And as we look down through the field, definitely a number of drivers choosing to stop on this round. Isaac Emerson still sitting on pit road, as is Vincent Laria. They've been there for quite a long time, and I don't think they're going to be getting back out onto the track anytime soon. But we have, how many drivers are even left in this race?
I believe somewhere around 18, 19?
18, 19 cars still left in this one. So that's what I was saying earlier. You could have driven around by yourself half a lap down and walk away from this one easily with the top 20.
Yeah, I think Tim Harper's 13 laps down, and he's in 23rd.
I tell you, just got to keep out there fighting. That's the reason why you do it. Just get some more laps if that car is drivable. Jacob Smith and Brian Smith will be starting here at the restart on lap number 59. We are green here again at Pocono Raceway. Double file as they head down into turn number 1, except Joe B. Ray, who decides to make it 3 wide.
He thought about it there, but he backed off a little bit, but now he's going to have a really good run here on Cootie and Brian Smith. But Jacob Smith, he's pulling down to that inside lane so that Brian Smith can't get his draft and catch up to him. So this is now him protecting the bottom from turn 2. So a really good defensive move there by Jacob Smith.
Well, as we watch on there, you can see some of the other action in the field as well. Ronnie Norman looking at the inside of Ryan Patty. Those two racing it out back there, but just a little bit further forward, that's Finnegan and Ray who are racing side by side at the moment.
We got a pass for the lead there. Ryan Smith on Jacob Smith. Wonder if they're related. Here they go. Into turn 1.
They gotta be related. I mean, they're on the same team. You'd have to assume so. You'd have to assume so. But certainly we can find that information out there. In third place, Cootie just about to get under attack by Finnegan. Cootie got a little slow coming off of the corner. Finnegan thought about trying to jump on that position. And a little bit further, this is Gilbert. You recognize him, Gilbert.
Oh.
That's Ronnie Norman sideways.
He gets a bump from Cody Neal and sends him sideways, and Ronnie's going to lock up the brakes, save it, and keep going, so no caution.
That's amazing. I don't even know how he managed to keep that car pointed right, but back up at the front, no caution comes out. That's unfortunate for Norman, who's now out of this race for the top 5, at least on the track.
We didn't even have to interview him.
I'm glad that the cars drowned out whatever that joke was, Christian.
I said we didn't have to interview him to get him the jinx.
Well, you cursed him earlier. There's the curse again.
Oh, there it is again. Oh, man.
Andrew Cootie.
Nobody else involved.
He just barely touches the wall, and nobody else involved in that one. Let's step back and take a look at this. This was Cootie coming into the corner, and there you see the number 4 of Jacob Smith to his inside. See if we can get overhead, which tends to be the best way to review these incidents, but Cootie kind of hanging out there on the outside, and looks like perhaps a little bit of net code, but he gets a little bit of help from the right front.
Yeah, it's another incident where, you want to side draft and try to pull them back, but iRacing tonight, just you can't get that close to a car, and that's the product that happens there.
We'll go back and one more time take a look from some of these drivers' points of view how this one went down. This was Joby Ray here a little bit further back, seeing this one all go down in front of him, and it's kind of like the Red Sea's parting in front of you. Just manages to get right through that one. This was from Jacob Smith's point of view, headed into the corner. Well, I don't know how he managed to keep that one pointed forward after that, too. And
I don't think Cootie has that much damage from this incident here. So he keeps it off the inside wall. He does get into the outside wall slightly, but he slows down enough right here that it's not that hard of an impact. So I don't think it's going to be a day ender or anything for him. He might still have a chance of getting a top 10 finish, perhaps.
well, if the angle had been a little different, he might have punched that radiator there as he went up into the wall. But as you said, he didn't make much contact. Now, a number of cars coming down onto pit road.
It looks like everybody in the top 10 going to stay out, but those guys behind top 10 that maybe have a set of tires left coming in to get them and see if they're able to make something happen here with less than 20 to go.
Well, that's Purcell, who's a lap down, but Cootie is on the lead lap. And you know who this really benefits is Ronnie Norman, who had that spin just earlier. He's going to get a chance to come down, get those brand new tires, and head back out there and get another shot at this one. And in the meantime, I believe this is as good of a time as any to talk about. It's just under 20 laps to go out here on the track. And, of course, that's brought to you by Snyder Graphics. That's facebook.com/Snyder Graphics for all of your livery needs, your car paints, your wraps, whatever you want to call it. If you've got a NASCAR Next Gen Cup car, you need some paint, you need it to look good, you might as well give a call over to Snyder Graphics, and he can do cup cars, he can do trucks, he can do pretty much anything, because he knows how to work on those templates. So if you need anything thrown together, whether it's for Icon, Nora, or any other league or series or official racing, get in touch, facebook.com/Snyder Graphics.
Yeah, that Christian Snyder guy, very talented. Behind the wheel, in the booth, and painting. I don't know him personally, but he's good.
Uh-huh. What was your name again, sir?
Oh, I don't know. I got amnesia.
Gotta bust out the soundboard again. There we go.
We need more noises for that soundboard, man, I tell you.
We do, but we gotta upgrade our Discord or something to make that better. But that being said, is Cody Height? Now that's not possible. Cody Height is still on the lead lap. So Cody Height just needs to get some tires here. He overshoots his box a little bit. But, yeah, he just needs to get some tires, and he'll have another shot at this one as well. I am kind of surprised. I thought he took on a little bit too much damage. But Cody is still in the pits, and they're coming through Tunnel Turn. Is he going to be able to catch up?
Man, I don't know.
What's he doing sitting on pit road?
He's got to get going right about now if he wants to catch them before the restart.
I'm wondering if he unfortunately got a penalty. He must have gotten a penalty for his last pit stop or something.
It's possible, but here they come into turn 2, and he's going to have to hustle around the track if he wants to catch up. Might be refilling that cash draw in that car. Might have ran out.
That's indeed possible. He could just be chatting with his people over on YouTube. I mean,
Or you could be getting an ice cream cone. It is pretty hot out there on the track.
Oh my goodness me. Brian Smith and Nathan Finnegan going to be leading us back. You got Jacob Smith still in the fray up there, and Jovi Ray, Ryan Patty, Cody Neal, Kyle Gilbert, and Christopher Howell, Jamie Lee Dunning, and Kevin Gunther. That's your top 10. Pace truck pulls away rapidly. And Brian Smith going to get that jump. There to the inside, it's Jacob Smith as well. And there's Ryan Patty in the 30. He's going to try to make it into third spot. And Patty has been having a really good race coming forward there. But Smith up 16 positions. Patty now steals that third spot. Or does he, as Finnegan and Patty, both admins here, as you see Harper in the back having a big moment.
He's able to save it and keep going. I think Cody Height also involved in that one, as well as Ronnie Norman. So all three Harper guys having a little bit of trouble back there. So we jump back up front. Brian Smith still the leader. Jacob Smith in second. And then you got Finnegan working on the outside here, but Jovi Ray going to tuck in underneath him and try for third.
Finnegan is still in third, but Jovi Ray there going to try to make that challenge as we're counting down the laps here. Only a handful left, 15 to go. That time by, it's Smith in front, Smith in second, Finnegan in third, Jovi Ray in fourth, Patty hanging on to fifth, Patty getting sideways there through turn number one.
And I tell you what, those front four are bumper to bumper here. As you see Nathan Finnegan go underneath Jacob Smith now into the tunnel turn. Jacob Smith going to back out of it, let him go by, and then comes down in front of Jovi Ray trying to block that move. And he will fall back into third as now Finnegan for the lead.
This is for the lead of the race. I don't think Brian Smith thought he would get this strong of a run past tunnel turn and into turn number 3, but Finnegan going to challenge for the lead.
Finnegan, he's got to side draft him here.
Finnegan and Patty kind of both doing admin responsibilities here in the Icon Cup Series, but now Finnegan is going to take a look to the inside of Smith into turn number 1 again.
That was close, man. Finnegan gets a little loose now. Brian Smith going to probably clear him here. Now he's got to watch for Jovi Ray, and whoa, man, he blocked Jovi Ray, and Jovi to the inside now. It's getting exciting up here in the front. Nathan Finnegan now going to try to hold off Jacob Smith as Jovi Ray up there with his teammate in the 78. See what they can do here with 14 to go.
5 cars with a real chance at potentially stealing this victory, but Brian Smith exactly where he was to begin this race and through the whole first stage. He suffered some issues in the middle part of this race, but was able to finally get back up there to the lead. Jovi Ray in second, Nathan Finnegan in third, Jacob Smith in fourth, and Ryan Patty in fifth. As you see, looks like Jacob Smith got quite high on the track there. That almost gave Patty a chance to make that pass, but it slows both of them up, and now Ray right on the rear bumper of Smith headed into turn 3.
Yeah, I don't think Jovi wanted to make that pass. Jovi's got to win. He's not running for points. We'd have to check if Brian Smith may be running for points, and with Ray being a teammate, just letting him get this win and helping him any way he can. We see that more so in iRacing than we do anywhere else. Friends just letting other people win to benefit them. So that could be the situation here for first and second. But you would think Jovi would want to win, whether he's running for points or not.
So Jovi is not officially running for points out there?
Yeah, he is not running for points. He is running part-time, so his win did not count, and he's not running for points.
Oh, we've got an incident further back. It's Jamie Lee Dunning and
Kyle Gilbert. Oh, and 2 cars get collected there on the outside. He was holding his brakes, and there's no caution here. I'm kind of surprised by that.
Typical
iRacing. There were 4 cars involved.
Typical iRacing incident and no caution. But a single car will stop on the front stretch, and they'll throw a caution for that. Brian Smith in the lead here, just under 10 laps to go. We're just about to see. Actually, no, I take it back. Just over 10 laps. Just about to come down to 10 laps to go here for Smith. Jovi Ray still holding on in that second spot. This is just how it was going down in the first stage of the race. Nathan Finnegan, though, in that third spot, and he's trying everything he can to get up there and get that number 6 machine up into second or possibly first. We'll see whether
Ryan Patty not too far behind this battle here.
Yeah, Patty is. He starts to dial it in, and then he gets loose, and he dials it in, and he gets loose. He tries to make a pass. Sometimes he gets the pass completed, but half of the time he just seems to have some trouble with that machine. So it's obviously not exactly as stable for him as Brian Smith is fighting for 313 Motorsports, but they do continue on here, and Patty hanging on in that 4th spot as Jacob Smith has dropped back into 5th. A little bit further back here, we've got some side-by-side racing between Christopher Howell and Cody Neal and Kevin Gunther. And this is for a 7th spot.
Something I've noticed for these 3 races that we've covered for Icon, Kevin Gunther comes up really late in the race and is just kind of always in the top 10, kind of like what we see with Matthew George over in Nora. He just shows up whenever it's time to collect in that top 10.
Well, as you know from running official races, there are a lot of drivers who that is their strategy. They'll run mid-pack, they'll run in the back. They'll just literally do everything they can to give themselves as big of a cushion of error, of margin around them, so that should there be an incident, they can take evasive action. And then when there's, 10 laps to go, 20 laps to go, they start making their move, coming forward. Of course, you do see that in real life as well. All of a sudden, cars, especially at plate tracks, coming forward, and it's like, hey, where did that guy come from? We haven't seen him all race.
Well, you just described basically Kevin Harvick almost every race. That's why they call him the closer. So we got our version of the closer out here with Gunther. Which is ironic because he's got an RCR type paint scheme, so maybe some inspiration there with Kevin Harvick.
Well, he's doing a fabulous job. He's looking good out there, that's for certain. Pretty unique paint job working on that machine. And who doesn't like to get their favorite beverage into the act? Perhaps he's drinking one right now. Got a nice cup holder on his sim rig. Ryan Smith, though. Yeah.
I think that's against the law, drinking and driving.
But
I don't know if it's,
he's in his own living room.
That could, excuse the law. Hey, he's operating a motor vehicle, whether it's virtual or not,
Well, then the virtual police will come and arrest him virtually, I'm sure. Brian Smith continues to lead here. We're just about to see the final stretch on this one. 7 laps remain here in Pocono as Jovi Ray.
He tried looking low.
He did try as they now catch Cody Height there in traffic. Here comes Finnegan on
Nathan
Jovi
Finnegan
Ray.
a jump to the inside. That all happened with Jovi taking a low entry into 1. Nathan was able to have a little bit of a higher entry and kind of roll the corner better. But now you see that Jovi has that outside lane and is able to defend it there in the tunnel turn.
Yeah, and he, if you notice, he did not give Finnegan a lot of room on that inside lane. I think he kind of put the pressure on there to say, I don't think you want to push it that hard, Nathan. Right now, but Jovi doing exactly what he needs to do to hang on to second place. Finnegan gave it a shot, as you see Smith now weaving on the front stretch to try to get rid of some of that drafting. Now Patty getting into this mix.
Yeah, Finnegan's teammate Ryan Patty catching up to him here and trying to work with him here from Detached House of Speed. And down the backstretch, you see Brian Smith again going low, trying to break that draft. Jovi also follows him. You see Finnegan, he's trying to set up Jovi Ray any way he can. He's having a little bit of a higher entry in these corners, trying to set up a run down the straightaways. And Ryan Patty is kind of driving harder into the corners than everyone else. So we'll have to see which lane maybe works here. But you can see that high arc from the 6 of Nathan Finnegan, and then you'll see the run that he gets down the straightaway as he tries breaking the draft here, Jovi Ray that is. See the run he gets down toward turn 1, and then he's got to go up high here, and then he's going to break earlier than Jovi and then arc it down into the corner to try to get a run off.
Well, and certainly these drivers continue to jockey for that position, and they see that big, I mean, you'll see in IndyCar especially, you'll see these drivers weaving on each one of these straightaways because there is so much speed here, so much drafting capability. But certainly with NASCAR, as you get down this very long front straightaway, these drivers are going to be doing everything they can to disrupt that airflow behind. There you can see Ray getting a little sideways. That's going to give Finnegan the run that he needs to head down towards turn 1 and possibly steal second position.
Well, funny thing right there, Brian Smith saw that in his mirror and chose to stay up on the outside lane to help his teammate in the 00 have a little bit of a draft, and that's going to allow Jovi Ray to drive deep into turn 1 and try to defend this off of Nathan Finnegan. But Finnegan, he's
Finnegan,
cut off.
He turns himself on the front end of Jovi Ray. They both recover. And I tell you what, that's going to set us up for a shootout here at the end of this one as the yellow flag does come out.
Yeah, Finnegan kind of pulled a Denny Hamlin there. Just kind of drove up the track, was hoping Jovi let him have it. But Jovi was not backing out of that one.
Christian, this was, it was lining up through turn 1. Jovi kind of lost some of the momentum coming through turn 1. He drove it in quite deep. Finnegan tried to do the slide job, but he just wasn't clear, and he kind of impaled himself there on the front corner of Jovi Ray's machine. Car getting turned, and Brian Patty taking advantage of that, and as a result, I believe Patty is going to be scored in second place as we come back to the green flag.
Yeah, and that's a product, we're within 5 to go. Earlier in the race, maybe Jovi Ray is going to lift off the throttle, give that position to Nathan Finnegan. But this late in the race, you're not going to lift and let him up. You're going to try to keep on his outside and keep in second place. And, maybe Nathan was thinking, he surely will let out of the gas and let me take this spot. But that's just battling for the same position. Nathan tried slide jobbing, didn't work, and they come together.
I'll tell you that that Aaron's dog may look very happy and friendly when you're chasing around behind Jovi Ray, but I'll tell you what, he knows how to be vicious and take a bite out of your machine if he needs to when it all comes down to it. But Finnegan, he was up there racing up into second place a moment ago. Now he's going to have to try to do this restart from fourth. But we will get the double wide restart when we come back. We're going to take a momentary break here, catch our breath. We'll be back just a moment, and we'll carry this one through to the end. Stay tuned here on VirtualRacing.Network. Look at all these drivers coming in. Oh, are they just faking? They're just faking coming in. We'll be right back. green, white, checkered. That is our destiny here for the end of this race. Of course, if you're enjoying this one, you'll want to see all of the racing action here on VirtualRacing.Network. You won't want to miss any of the rest of the Icon Cup Series schedule. Make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. And you wouldn't believe how many people out there are watching this thing for the first time and they're not subscribed. You got to hit that big subscribe button. Also, smash the like button if you're enjoying our coverage here tonight. Christian Snyder gets a massive raise every time that you smash that like button. So do it for him. Do it for Christian. But
yes,
here we go, folks. Green, white, checkers. That is what we've got in front of us. They get 3 attempts at this. Brian Smith going to be the front driver in this one, heading to the green flag. And then Jovi Ray, Ryan Patty, and Nathan Finnegan. Jacob Smith still in this one as well. Brian Smith leads us to that green flag with Jovi Ray just behind.
Yeah, really good start for both of them. They're going to work together going into turn 1. You see 3 wide on back in the field here. And now Ryan Patty, he's going to get by Nathan Finnegan for 3rd place. Let's see if he's able to get underneath Jovi Reyes. Oh no, trouble. Trouble. Gets into Nathan Finnegan. Gunther involved as well. Caution is back out.
So we'll have to re-rack them and get this one going once again. Kevin Gunther and Nathan Finnegan involved. Let's see if we can track down exactly what happened here, as it was Jacob Smith on the low side of Finnegan in this shot. See if we can get above it and tell exactly what happened here.
You can see Finnegan's out of the throttle, and Cootie is still in the throttle there in the 9 car, and just kind of drives into his quarter panel, maybe not expecting Finnegan to be getting off the throttle. And then Gunther there, Kevin Gunther in the 31, he checks up, and Cody Neal behind him didn't get the memo and just turns him into the inside wall, and we got synchronized spinning here between Nathan Finnegan and Kevin Gunther.
Beautiful stuff. Unfortunately, not planned that way. Unfortunately, this is not a demonstration of car control. They both tag that inside wall, and it's always something to be spinning in exact synchronization with somebody on your outside. Unfortunately, like I said, you don't get bonus points for style out here. Lick there and back up underway. Not too much damage to the number 31. In fact, I don't think anybody really sustained that much damage in that incident. But we're going to take another momentary break. We'll be right back here on VirtualRacing.Network with hopefully the conclusion of this one. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Patty? Is it going to be Ray? Is it going to be Smith? We'll find out here momentarily. Stay tuned. And welcome back here, VirtualRacing.Network. I'm Trevor Greenfield, joined in the booth here by Christian Snyder. It's been an exciting race so far here at Pocono Raceway. The tricky triangle has been tricky for a number of these drivers, but one driver who's really excelled tonight has been Brian Smith. Jovi Ray has been right there as well, and no surprise to see Ryan Patty in third spot. But we're going to be starting single file coming back from this restart. Christian, you think that this will lead to a cleaner green-white checkered here, or no?
I think they'll be 3 wide by the time they get into turn 1. I think some cars are going to lay back a little bit, maybe a car length, get a little bit of a jump. Might have some cars breaking the rolls and changing lanes before that start-finish line. We'll have to see. But they'll definitely be 2, 3 wide going into 1 or coming out of 1.
Well, and one other thing to watch out for, Cody Eldred and Adam Ball, as well as Ronnie Norman back here in 10th, 11th, 12th position. They all have fresh tires on, so is that going to play out as they have about 20 laps newer tires than these front group of drivers? We are under green here again. Brian Smith and Jovi Ray dive down to the inside. Ryan Patty tries the outside. They weave down this front straightaway, but it's still single file headed into turn number 1.
The first 2 wide here, Cody Neal underneath the Cootie, I believe that is, and they're going to try to make it work down the front stretch, or well, second stretch, I'll call it. But up front, Smith and Ray with Patty right behind them here. I'll have to see what this battle happens real quick here. I believe that's... who is that getting into that battle? Is that Howell in the 88?
You got Christopher Howell in the 88. Now into that on the outside of Neal, and Howell, I'm not sure if Howell's going to be able to steal that position, but there you can see Jacob Smith now trying on that third spot, and that is going to give us the white flag, which means we actually survived. Whether we get...
Oh, contact out back there, Cody Neal and I think Christopher Howell maybe?
Whether we have an incident or not, this one will finish up. Brian Smith still your leader. Jovi Ray in second. Who's going to take third position? Is it going to be Ryan Patty, Jacob Smith? They race side by side down this second straightaway into turn number 2. This is the battle for third is on. Jovi Ray and Brian Smith up in front of them. Still first and second. A lot of passing for position just behind. Patty tries to keep it on the outside, and he makes momentary contact with Smith, I believe, headed into turn number 3. Down the front stretch they come. It's going to be Brian Smith who will take first, but it's Ryan Patty who will steal third. Jovi Ray taking second place in this race. Congratulations to Michael Smith to Brian Smith, taking his very first victory here in the Icon Cup Series. And second place going hard-fought race to Jovi Ray. So 2 races for Ray and a first and a second to his name. Ryan Patty from the Detached House of Speed taking first place last race and hanging on for third place here. It looked like it was a real barn burner of a finish here. Let's see if we can back it up. And this was side by side between Patty and Smith headed to that checkered flag. As we jump overhead, we can see just how close this was. Patty on the outside, and there's Smith on the inside coming to the checkered flag. And Smith had a good run, but tried to get that draft off of Ray in front, and Patty just had the horsepower, it seemed like, to get it done on the outside.
Yeah, and Jacob's going to watch this back and think, what could I have done different to get that podium spot? Maybe, side drafting might have worked, but he's going to think back on this one and see what he could have done differently next time.
Well, we got numerous drivers burning it down here on the front straightaway. And let's go ahead and we'll pull up the final results for tonight's race. And momentarily have a chance to chat with our top 3 drivers in the Icon Cup Series post-race discussion area coming up here just momentarily. but you can see it there on your screen. He's kind of celebrating in the background, doing some burnouts and some donuts, and I think he finally popped that engine, but it is, in fact, Brian Smith for 313 Motorsports who takes victory. Second place going to Jovi Ray. Third to Ryan Patty. Fourth, Jacob Smith. Fifth, Andrew Cootie. Sixth, Christopher Howell. Seventh, Cody Neal. Eighth, Jamie Lee Dunning. Ninth, Adam Ball. 10th, Mike Jennings. 11th, Ronnie Norman. 12th, Kevin Gunther. 13th, Cody Eldred. 14th, Kyle Gilbert. 15th, Cody Height. 16th, Nathan Finnegan. 17th, Brock Kersey. 18th going to Stephen Tuck. And 19th going to Brad Slagle. 20th to Tanner Dio. 21st to Sean Purcell. 22nd, Nick Alfer. 23rd, Timothy Harper. 24th, Vincent Loria. 25th, Blade Timmons. 26th, Brendan Jenks. 27th, Justin Bissonette. 28th, Brendan Colley. And rounding it out here in the final part of this order is Isaac Emerson, Mark Morton, Nathan Brzezowski, Nick Eilis, Scott Patton, Hanover Fist, Justin Michael, William Baker, and Evan Patinko. Your last runner out there tonight. So with that, we're going to get a chance here, I believe, to chat with our top three. And third place tonight being taken by Ryan Patty. And let's see if we can manage to pull him out of his car. And it looks like he's got the sweat wiped off his brow there. That was quite a finish you had there, Ryan. Congratulations on taking third place. I know nothing's as sweet as taking victory like you did last week, but congratulations on third. A hard-fought finish there over Jacob Smith.
Yeah, thanks, Trevor. You're not kidding. I'm definitely a little bit worn out after that race. Man, I can't imagine what it would have been like if we'd have gone green the whole way, because that was exhausting trying to hang on to it. The car was pretty tough to drive all night. Everyone seemed like they were on top of each other, couldn't get away. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I feel lucky coming away with a podium finish. I didn't think I had a car for it, but things just worked out my way.
Well, it was a great race all night long. There was a lot of cautions breaking it up, but it seemed like for you, at least from our point of view, it seemed like you had some trouble with that car getting loose, where you just did you find that? Was it just a little difficulty getting off of corners? Was there a particular scenario that made it more loose for you, or is this just pretty much the next-gen car here at Pocono?
Yeah, I think it is this car at this track. A couple of us on our team were talking about how we missed the Gen 6. It was a little bit more snug. You could power off the corners and it wouldn't feel as as deadly, right? You probably saw a lot of folks coming off of turn 1 and turn 2 even, they'd get loose and wiggle to the inside more often than you'd like. It never felt comfortable. Typically the third corner is my favorite. You can it's a flat corner, you can sweep it out wide, cut down low on exit. There was no point during this entire race that it felt comfortable on exit for me.
Well, and other than that, did you have any chance to size up whether you could go and tackle Jovi Ray or Smith up there in the front? Did that look like a possibility, or was it just they were in their own zip code here tonight?
Yeah, I don't think we had anything for them on the short run. They were definitely quick. They had the pace right out of the gates. The only thing I could have done is in a long run. Normally, one of my strengths is saving tires and conserving and being able to pick off cars as we get it 20, 30, 40 laps into a run. There was only one run I think that we got even close to that, and I was really starting to come back to the leaders. But unfortunately, we just didn't have a run long enough for my long run speed to pay off.
Well, either way, to survive and still be able to take third place, I'm sure you have some people to thank for this one.
Yeah, no, always happy with the podium. We'll keep the top 5 string going. Obviously appreciative of my guys on Detached Racing, sharing notes, helping each other out throughout the race. They had a little bit of late race trouble, but still going to maintain a top 12 position in the points. And yeah, thanks for you guys up in the booth. Obviously, looking forward to going back and watching this one. A lot of action, a lot of things to catch up on. Overall, pretty good race. We'll move on and we'll see what we can do next week at Richmond.
Well, for a while I thought it was you and Finnegan who might finish up there at the front together as friends and those who run this series. That's always good, and of course we always appreciate what you're doing here, Ryan. You're running a class show in Icon, and certainly showing that you know what you're doing behind the wheel. So we'll see you again next week, and perhaps you can keep this podium streak alive.
Sounds good, Trevor. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too. So that is Ryan Patty. He's going between different series and doing very well, but certainly here in Icon, taking victory, taking another podium, leading the points, and he'll continue to lead the points as we head out of here. And in the meantime, Christian, I think you've managed to catch up with Joe V. Ray, who is listed as independent team here in this field, but he ran for you over at Nora, so I think you have something to talk to him about.
Yeah, I tell you what, Jovi, you've had 2 races here in Icon, and you finished first in the first one and second here, so you got an average of 1.5 for your finishes here in Icon. So tell us how you got the job done tonight and finishing second.
It was just working well with my teammate, with Brian, just holding the lines together and just staying tucked up together, just not racing each other. I was like, yo, let's just get away from the pack, but at the end we couldn't. But Brian pulled it off.
Yeah, you guys were working that draft really well together, almost breaking it on every straightaway and really making that work for you. A lot of people having issues with a loose car. How did it feel out there for you throughout the race?
It got pretty loose for me in turn 3. That's where I was like losing all the time. I could just feel it stepping out, sliding, and the 6 car had a run on me there until our little incident. That's fine. That's just hard racing at the end.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that. It looked like almost Nathan kind of wanted you to maybe give the spot, just came up right in front of you. And it's like I told Trevor, within 5 laps to go, you can't give spots away. You got to take everything you can get. So I figured maybe that was what happened there. But I tell you what, the past 3 weeks here on VRN, you've had amazing finishes. So again, coming out here tonight and finishing second. So congrats on that. Anyone you want to give a shout out to for tonight here before we send you on your way?
Shout out to my team, Brian, with the amazing work there towards the end. Jacob, Cody bouncing back, and unfortunate circumstances with our boy Vincent Loria talking all that hot doo-doo and comes out here with a 24th. He was top of the boards and now he's at the bottom of the boards. He's gonna have to work on that. But yeah, and shout out to you guys for the broadcast. It's amazing. And thank you for letting me race for you in that truck series. It's pretty fun. Sorry I couldn't pull off the dub, but yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, of course. And anytime you want to come back over, just let me know when the truck's open.
Dude, I promise I was not a road ring guy. I surprised myself during that race too.
All right. Well, again, congrats on the podium here in Icon, and we'll see you potentially next week. And good luck.
Hopefully. Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
And Trevor, I believe you caught up with the winner of tonight's race, Brian Smith.
Well, he just got done burning it down on the front straightaway. He ended up popping that engine. He did so much burnouts there. But Brian, what an amazing run for you tonight. We talked to you when you took the first stage, of course, taking points for that. And really, you only were set back a little bit here tonight as you had to take that later pit stop and then work your way through the field. But you did that successfully. And once you were back out there in front, you were pretty much untouchable. Congratulations. You had that Toyota really working well here around Pocono.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Like I said at the stage end, it was just a matter of putting tires on at the right time and staying out at the end of the race. And that's exactly what ended up being the winning recipe. And thankfully, I had Jovi behind me, and this one's just as much his as it is mine because he was a great teammate. Always pushing on restarts and stuff. So, but yeah, it all worked out great. Strategy and stayed out of trouble.
Well, it was a great run overall. Now, you didn't have any of those troubles with it getting loose off of any of these corners. Did you, or was there any other issues that you felt on the track tonight, or was that thing as hooked up as it looked on the camera?
No, I was feeling pretty good. one thing I made an adjustment in the warm up. I started taking the tunnel turn in 5th gear and just running the A fix during the week and the officials and stuff. I was not doing that, so I don't know if that was something anybody else was doing, but it certainly made me feel a little more stable out of 4 or out of the tunnel turn and keep my momentum up, and that certainly helped.
Well, certainly now I'm going to have to go back and watch it because we were not gauging whether people were running in 5th gear or not. Now, taking a look at next week, back to short tracks. How you feeling with Richmond?
It's funny, I was just telling Ryan in the waiting room, I think Richmond's probably my least favorite racetrack, so I'm certainly not looking forward to that, but the tracks coming up after that, I'm really intrigued by. We got MIS, I think Indy Oval, and Watkins Glen. They're probably my favorite tracks coming up, so I'm really looking forward to those. So, yeah, it should be a pretty favorable schedule for me after next week at Richmond.
Now, of course, that you've said that, you might take the dub next week as well. But either way, what a great run for you here at Pocono, and a great chance to, of course, cement your position in the playoffs here in Icon Cup, and it's great to do that in just the 3rd week. Certainly looking good for the season. What are your thoughts overall? Of course, you got some good races coming up. You're going to be in this full time. Should be a great rest of the season.
Yeah, like I said, I think tracks for me are everything, and I mean, we've been racing the next gen car in iRacing a year and a half, so it's nice to head back to these tracks for the 2nd time and certainly feel more prepared. I know that's helped me a lot at Pocono here this weekend, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully picked up some momentum tonight. It's been a disastrous start to the season for me the last 2 weeks. I felt fast, but just caught up in wrecks that, it happens, but glad I was able to avoid them tonight.
Well, I'm sure you've got some shout outs for your big win here at Pocono.
Yeah, number one would be Jovi. He did a great job tonight. Like I said, pushing on restarts and that kind of stuff. And you lock up cars and you can break away from the pack a little bit, and there was certainly some of that going on. And the rest of the team did a pretty solid job. I do want to apologize for Vincent Laurie wrecking someone early in the race. I'd certainly like to think that we'd do a little better than that, but other than that, great job by the team, great job by Jovi, great job by everyone else. So, yeah, good night.
It sure was a good night. Certainly good for your team and good for yourself as well. And Jacob coming in there in 4th, and Cody also coming in 7th. Just a great run for 313 Motorsports. Great to have you here, Brian, and good luck next week through the track that you don't want to look forward to. We'll see whether you can continue your good luck here.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
My pleasure. That is Brian Smith, who takes victory here at Pocono. And Christian, this was one tonight where it looked like if you had the car figured out, you might be able to survive this one. And if you could have the car figured out and survive it, you might take victory like Brian Smith did. Or possibly like Jovi Ray or Ryan Patty managed to just hang on.
Yeah, it was definitely a battle of attrition tonight, and I think I mentioned that before the race even started. I said, it's the tricky triangle, man. It is tricky for a reason. And these guys had some trouble with the car, and it was a little bit of a looser setup. And, we heard multiple drivers that we just interviewed there say that it was a pretty loose night. And I think most of that had to do with the track temperature being so high. And it being quite a sunny day here in Pennsylvania, and we'll look forward to going to Pocono 2 more times this week. So we'll be interested to see what happens in the trucks and Cup Monday and Tuesday here. And if you're not subscribed, you got to subscribe to get notified about those 2 races coming up tomorrow and Tuesday.
Absolutely, coming up tomorrow night, it'll be the NORA Truck Series and the NORA Cup Series coming up on Tuesday night. So you get your full plate of NASCAR action right here on VirtualRacing.Network. And of course, next Sunday night, it'll be right back here for the Icon Cup Series. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber of VirtualRacing.Network. And also, please hit that big thumbs up button. It helps to get this race out there to many more people. We'll see you tomorrow night right here on VirtualRacing.Network. On behalf of everybody here, including Christian Snyder, myself, Ryan Patty, and all the rest of the team at Icon Cup Series. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on VirtualRacing.Network. Bye-bye, everybody.